Hey, hoser is Maybone here, and we are doing a show tonight with Kara and Kaden on uh, how gender basically how we present ourselves basically has nothing to do with our gender. Um, so is related a lot to Kaden here, because Nee has basically, I guess it'd be fair to say, fully accepted yourself as a demi boy.
I have. I absolutely have. And it's awesome. It is amazing.
And yeah, so things have been going very well for you with that.
It has it definitely has. I feel so much more in tune with myself and so much more free than I did before ended up coming out as a demi boy. And that has just been revolutionary in my life, honestly. And I know it seems like a small thing because, agender and demi boy are really close together, but I've always at least in recent memory, once I found out what a demi boy was, I was just like, "Oh, I wish I could be that. I wish I could be that." But I didn't think I could identify that way because I didn't feel like I was masculine enough, and I didn't feel like I presented convincingly enough to really go with that. And I also thought that you had to be AFAB to do it, but eventually I found out that that is an identity that I can claim, and I'm just like, it just feels so white, honestly. It just feels so perfect because it represents who I am completely. So yeah, and to talk about the topic. Now, today I pretty much am presenting like a demi boy. I have my baggy gothish t-shirt, my baggy jeans, hair just kind of tied back. But there were some days when I present very femininely. There were some days where I wear makeup, where I put on, flowery clothing or even dresses, things like that. And those things don't make me any less of a demi boy than I am
Hmm.
today. Because being a demi boy or being any gender identity is about what's inside. It's about how you individually identify. It's not about the clothes that you wear. It's not about your physical body. And it's not about how other people perceive you. It's only about how you feel inside. And like even when I present like this, people will probably see me primarily as a woman. I can't control that. It's something that I have accepted. It doesn't bother me at all, but that isn't my gender identity. And like if someone I don't know uses binary pronouns, it's not going to do anything to change my feeling. But with people I know, I do want them to recognize that I'm not female, that I'm a demi boy, and that I'm non-binary, and that that's what I am. And
Okay.
one quick thing I wanted to show you folks, I guess, is my closet because um not going back into the closet, but just showing I have all types of clothes, including very feminine ones, like this.
Yeah.
And I wear these. I feel like myself when I wear these. I feel happy when I wear them. But me putting
I
on
like I like that
those, yeah,
I like that one with the black, the trans color, like the black, the blue, and the pink.
yes, I love this dress. Absolutely love it. But
Yeah.
when I wear this, I don't suddenly become a girl. I don't.
No.
No, I'm still a demi boy. I'm just a demi boy who's wearing a cute dress.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And that goes for pretty much everyone, right? That
Yeah,
goes
like
for. Okay, I'm kind of a weird exception, but like that goes, for someone doing drag. Like
mhm.
they are putting on an act, to be a king or a queen, but
Mhm.
like that doesn't make them, that doesn't that act doesn't change their gender identity. It
Mhm.
you know now some people, some women do be drag queen, um and some men or even masculine presenting people be drag kings,
Mhm.
but that is
That
unrelated to their identity, basically.
indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. And like uh I was out swimming, and I was wearing earlier today, I was wearing, men's swim shorts and a
Mhm.
bikini top, which, yeah, okay, people were probably running in terror from seeing below the neck, but I was had a shirt on, but still, like, well, yeah, that kind of is a representation of my gender identity. It's just, if I were wearing that, and I was just like a woman, then, you know, wearing a pair of men's swim shorts wouldn't anything.
Mhm.
So
It definitely wouldn't. Like, and I often feel like as trans people, or as people who were AMAB and who are physically transitioning, like I feel like society wants us to perform gender in really stereotypical ways. Like to go full on with the femininity. And I find it so hypocritical that, someone who is AMAP, who is physically transitioning, or who has physically transitioned, has to be super high femme, but a cis woman can wear a button down shirt and a tie and can still be called a woman. It's just
yeah,
such a double standard. And it's just, why are we applying these gender standards to trans people when we don't apply them to cis people? It just
that's
seems hypocritical to me on some level.
that's a good question. And, you
Mhm.
know, there's a lady on Twitter who I'm going to have her on the show again, and we're going to talk more about this. But her name is Danielle, and she basically was, you know, um, it's really horrible, but if she's Big Mama Dyke, if or Mama Dyke loves you or something like that.
Aw.
If um if you see her on Twitch, um, but like she was, because she's, butch and has a motorcycle, and she's trans. She was, from the sounds of her story, basically forced to have GRS when she didn't want it. And she
Well,
speaks a lot about that, and how, how it's basically ruined her. And it's really sad. But
well,
going back into what you were saying, you know, it's because she's it's because she's, very butch, more butch than me, and
well,
and she's binary and I'm not, from from what I understand. So like, um yeah, there's a lot of that, and from what I have heard from other people talking, is that, if you were a butch trans, or if you were transitioning, say 10, 15, 20 years ago or more, you would have been expected by like doctors and, um by doctors and by, psychologists and psychiatrists and endocrinologists and all that, to be that, super high femme person. You were pretty much expected to have bottom surgery from what I can tell. Um, when I first tried to transition, that's one of the that's one of the things that sent me basically back into the closet was I would have been expected to get bottom surgery, and I don't want that bottom surgery. I want
Yeah.
a bottom surgery that wasn't available at that time. Um,
Mhm.
so like there used to be this expectation of all trans women to be really just these complete stereotypical, like the just be the stereotype.
Wait, and it's almost a form of like, and I don't use this word lightly, but to me, it's just sexist in a way. It's a form of sexism
Yeah.
that a trans woman is expected to be stereotypically femme.
Yep.
Like, and until you mentioned that one person, I mean, I had heard about, certain trans women being butch, but I've never met one. I
Hey.
didn't even think that, well, outside of you,
Okay.
but you're non-binary.
True.
Like, I'm talking about binary trans women. I
I
had
know a
heard
couple.
about there being butch binary trans women, but I've never come across one, and I feel like there are so few precisely because of the pressure that society puts on trans women to be hyphen.
Yeah. Um, and when I started transitioning,
Mhm.
um, there, because of what I went through the first time I tried, some of that was still kind of carried with me. Um, so yeah, it's just something that I've kept with me. I was expecting to have to do the real life test, which fortunately that doesn't exist in Canada anymore, or it shouldn't if it does in
Mhm.
other provinces.
Oh, what's
Um,
the real life tester? What is that?
you present as your identified gender for a year before they give you hormones.
Can I defend the real life test? And I'm not saying that I
No.
personally support it, but I'm just saying, like, because I have heard stories of, detransitioners and people who were basically, butch women or simply feminine men, and who basically thought that because they were Gen Z, that they needed to transition, and they got hormones right away, and they ended up regretting taking them, and they ended up, detransitioning and going back. And if there was one good thing that the real life test does, it's that it gives people time to think about it. And it gives people time to decide if this is truly for them. Now, I'm not saying that I support it, but I am saying that I don't think it's this singularly transphobic thing that a lot of people think it is.
Okay, so
I think it does have utility.
the real life test is horrible and should be completely abolished everywhere. I'm not against making sure, your trends are not, but like there's literally no way that I could have there's literally no way I would have done that to get on hormone. And if I did do that, and if I did do the real life test, then they would have rejected me for not being feminine enough.
Wow. And that's a good thing is that it often does rely on stereotypes, which is really problematic. And that's something that I'm obviously very much against because, again, if I did a real life test and I dressed like this, I would probably be counted out. Even though on a lot of days I want to dress like this. But I'm just saying, though, is that, and
No,
this is kind of a personal question,
I
but
do want to actually I
why,
do
yeah,
but I do want to actually add that I'm talking about 15 years ago. I'm not necessarily talking about today.
Right,
Um,
exactly. And like
because
the main,
I'm still when I think of that, I think of what was being asked of me to do 2005,
which
not
was what?
um the real life test. I heard some people being saying like you have to be super femme. Yeah, you have to go in
Yeah.
and lie about how feminine you're not.
Then yeah,
um
that's hecked up.
yeah.
That's hecked
Um
up, and that's not what I support. But I do feel like
I
if we could,
support, like I went in, like for someone like me, right?
hmm
I went into I went into my doctor and I basically told her the majority of what she was already going to tell me. I was already in the Gender Journeys support group with Kara here. I was already doing laser on my face at that point. Um, so like I basically went in, said, "Here, I want hormones." You know, we had a little bit of talk about it. And like um He's like, okay, have you read the? I didn't actually read the Sherborne Health Guidelines. I read the Rainbow Health Guidelines, but they pretty much say the same thing.
hmm
I might have also read the Sherborne Guidelines. I was basically able to tell her everything that she would have told me at that point and a little more. Like I told my doctor about um oral estrogen being really bad for you,
hmm
especially if you're taking cyproterone like I am. That can really mess
yeah,
up your liver. Um, and a few other things. And then we went through the same thing with when we went through the same thing when I was trying to get progesterone recently, which I got, which is awesome. I'm so much better on progesterone. Um, and it's weird. I feel a lot more feminine.
hmm.
But I went in right, and I told her, no, it's going to do this, this, and this, and blah 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 blah. She was going to send me to an endocrinologist, but there aren't any. So eventually she just gave it to me last Monday. Um, Fortunately, we are having regular doctor's appointments because of some other health issues regarding my niece being terrible. But we're fixing all of the stuff. And now she's like right on board. It's great. And now there's someone who the trans clinic can turn to for guidance on progesterone because we've both really done our research on that. But back to the real life tests. Like they would have wanted me to present more feminine than I would normally present. Um,
Yeah.
on the show. They would want me to talk. Okay, I can't do the girl voice today.
Like, oh my god, they want you to talk like this.
they,
Like,
they
oh
would
my
want me
gosh,
to
it's your
talk
girl
like
voice.
this. I mean, it's I can do it, and they would want me to do it, but it's just like I
I
have to
know.
concentrate,
I
and I'm happy with my normal
I
voice.
know. And
So,
for
like,
me, that would
why?
actually give me dysphoria. Like talking like a valley girl would give
Yeah,
me dysphoria because it's so binary and it's just so contrived. And it
yeah,
just
no.
doesn't fit who I am at all. Like I'm a hiker, I'm an adventurer. I'm not like someone who's gonna spend 6 hours in the mall.
Well,
So
I was more just trying to raise my my pitch there than actually how I'm
yeah,
talking.
like to sound like a
So
feminine
like,
stereotype. But
yeah, well, or to I would more say like have a pitch in the typical um
right,
and they would probably want me to talk like that all the time. I just can't be bothered. I'm happy with my voice.
yeah. And it's androgynous, it fits you. It like it I hear both genders. I hear a man and I hear a woman and it suits you being bigender. And like yeah, the real life test as it was contrived back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s sucked. I completely agree with that. Like it's just the way that they had it laid out was problematic. But I do feel like if it could be framed in such a way as to affirm non-binary people and to not push people into stereotypes,
Well, I would still be.
maybe it could be useful.
I disagree on that. This is a little bit off topic, but
Mhm.
that's how the show often goes. Like the it would. I would not be. I would not even be doing this if I had to wait a year. Right?
Wow.
I would like. I would not. I would not be on hormones right now. I had to do the real. I
Well.
would be. I would be slightly better than before I came out, and I was like in a really bad shape before I came out.
Aw.
Like a year ago, I was in really, really bad shape a year ago, as far as like mental health and stuff goes.
Yeah.
Um, and I would have looked at the real life tests. I would have tried, but like, no. Now, like I said, I did my research. I made sure that I knew I wanted to do this before I even asked for it. I
Mhm.
did try to transition once before. So,
Mhm.
like, I would. It's reasonable that, I would not necessarily have to deal with the gatekeeping like that or having to, do any
Mhm.
extra. I feel, knowing my doctor, I feel that if she felt that I was uncertain or, that maybe it wasn't the best idea,
Mhm.
but like I think she would have sent me to a counselor because she's even told me, we basically have one in the back office. I'm
Mhm.
going to be speaking with the counselor a bit. Uh,
That makes
just
sense, and
for
that's the wise thing.
yeah, well, it's for stuff that the the progesterone is kind of fixing the stuff with that, but it wouldn't be much. It wouldn't be necessarily horrible to get my, to go over my frustrations with people. Um, being
Yeah, like some
the
of the things that you've been going over are like, yeah, they'd be much more problematic for me. Like I sound very masculine, and I dress very erratic too. Like some days I'm feminine, some days I'm like very practical. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's yeah, it's really like a lot of the times when I'm talking to people, they're like, "Well, doesn't hormones change your voice? Doesn't surgery change your voice?" And it's like, no. So like some of like I can't imagine what like some people had to go through in the past because like some of that stuff is really hard
Yeah.
to change. Like to
yeah
change your voice just so
Mhm.
someone else is more comfortable with you is pretty unfair.
Yeah.
yeah you
Yeah.
don't necessarily you have a very a rather deep and low pitched voice, but you don't like the way you talk isn't masculine at all.
Well,
No,
what?
no, no. Like
No.
it's definitely not. It's honestly to me it reads really feminine. I mean it's
Yeah.
low pitch, but it reads really feminine. And to both of you I do want to apologize because again, I have a lot of privileges that a lot of trans people don't. In that, I tend to blend in with cis people. I tend to like not have to deal with the overt transphobia that a lot of people have to face. And so,
Well,
like, I
like,
really do apologize because
you don't need to
I,
apologize to me. I go around literally advertising that I'm trans. Not overtly, but
hmm
like I try not to pass.
it's okay and that's valid. That's entirely valid. But what I was saying is with the real life test, I didn't fully understand the amount of effort that someone had to put forth to fit into the binary
Oh yeah.
to be accepted and to pass the real life test. I thought it was just okay, you change your name, you tell people to call you by your correct pronouns, and you like minimize your secondary sex characteristics and have fun.
I mean, I
Like I
probably
didn't know how binary it was and how just
I think it
cruel it was in a
changed.
way.
I think I
Mm-hmm.
think that, for places that still have it, the criterias and everything have changed quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but um, so like they can change the criteria to, you know, be accepting of non-binary people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and all of that. Um, but how I was, um, I've shown you pictures of me from a year ago, right?
You've
And
changed a lot. You've
and and
changed a lot.
and Kara knew me before I started transitioning. I think we met a couple of weeks after I came out, actually.
Wow.
So
Yeah, when the first 2 sessions, I was having a really hard time with that group, um,
yeah,
just because I had a lot of anxiety, and I actually didn't know if you were trans or not. Like, I didn't think you were there. You were presenting quite masculine. You were very moody and stuff. But like once you started to kind of loosen up and things started to be more open and stuff and telling a little bit more. But like the first 2 sessions, I was like, "Is that person trans? Like, what? Why are they here? I don't. I'm not sure what's going on."
yeah,
But then, like by the end of the thing, even you were starting to be more expressive of yourself, which was kind of exciting. Like I was like, "Oh, this is nice." You seemed a
yeah,
lot more friendly and like open to conversation and stuff, and that was yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah.
yeah.
Aw.
I don't often experience anxiety, but like I was experiencing a little bit of anxiety then. Um, and yeah, just I'm was still not super social, and it had been again, it had been like last year I come out on the 22nd, no, on the 20th. No, it was the 22nd. I come out the 22nd of September last year. So that group started in like early October, I think.
Yeah, and then it ended early December.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
like that is so yeah, I was basically just fresh out of the closet, and like speaking on presenting or anything like that more, I didn't um I didn't ever bother to, wear to go out of my way to wear women's clothes or anything.
Wow.
Before a few months before I come out. Um,
Wow.
and like it's I chalk a lot of it up to me being non-binary, but because I am entirely comfortable presenting, you know, entirely masculine, it's just that I have some body dysphoria, and I'm also entirely comfortable presenting entirely feminine. And now I'm used to presenting feminine, so my position is kind of reversed from a year ago, where I would have had trouble presenting feminine because I just wasn't used to doing so. I won't say I was like really masculine, but I was, you know, kind of masculine, except for the beard. Other than that, yeah,
Then yeah, that makes sense. And again, like with the real life test, I totally get that.
It would
It's
have
a bad
been
idea. It would have been bad for you.
it would have
It would
been
have
too
been.
awkward. I would have eventually forced my way through it, just the same way I forced my way through all of this, and having like the biggest thing that's helped me through the entire thing is getting on laser, or is getting my
Mhm.
face lasered. Um, because I had quite a very visible beard shadow, and that's just the
Mhm.
one thing. Um,
Yeah, I feel like
full
I have that right now because I had a laser session on Friday.
oh,
Um.
like full. If I had a full beard out to here, it wouldn't bother me. But if I had like just shadow, like this is bothering me a little
Oh,
bit.
that would be horrible.
Um, but yeah, you've seen me. I had like super full lumberjack beard. um, now I just got this and a little bit of stuff the laser can't get. Um, but yeah, but like to be honest, if I could just turn the thing on and off, I wouldn't be doing the laser, but I can't without doing an hour of makeup that I don't want to pay for and I don't want to learn how to do. Um, and I don't want to have to do that before I go to work, you know, all the time. So it's just better to do away with things. But if I was, out presenting masculine as I've been known to do from time to time, like just full out, I'm a dude. I have to concentrate to do that now. But I would have, I'd be okay with the beard, but yeah, it gets weird when I'm presenting feminine. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I totally
it's
that.
like conditional dysphoria. It's
Yeah, because
conditional
I get
dysphoria.
that as well. So
I
I get it.
I sometimes feel I've mentioned this on Twitter recently, but I sometimes feel, and I was talking about the surgery I want. It's not necessarily only about the surgery. It really messed me up. But like I sometimes, and it's not just the incident I mentioned, it's all the other um true scums that I've come across that just make me uncomfortable talking about things like how weird my dysphoria is compared to more binary people, I guess. But like um I don't have any dysphoria over how I'm presenting ever. No social dysphoria whatsoever. Um
Mhm.
just body dysphoria. But I have it coming from both directions now. And that's why I want to go see a counselor. Is because it's like really really frustrating
Yeah.
having basically male dysphoria and female dysphoria all at the same time.
Wow.
um
That must
yeah.
have been.
Now my plan is to be able to fix this at some point in the future
Mhm.
after I'm done the second half of my puberty, as I call it. um
Mhm.
but yeah. um now I like, how do you see, like, face how do you two see cross dressing, but like not necessarily, yeah, like how do you see cross dressing, either
Well,
from the standpoint of a trans or cis person?
I think it's
I,
just when you are wearing the clothing that society has determined the opposite of the gender you're wanting to look as would be wearing. So if you are non-binary and you particularly identify as the male aspect of that day and you're wearing predominantly a women's appearance, then I guess pragmatically you would be cross-dressing in society's eyes. But because
Okay.
they can't read your mind and know which particular part of the spectrum you're kind of sitting at that day, I don't think they can make that decision. for me, it would be more clear cut. It'd be like if I was wearing men's clothing. Society probably sees me cross dressing because I'm wearing women's clothing, because like not everyone sees trans people for the gender that they identify as. So
Hmm.
it's yeah, yeah,
It's complicated.
it depends on who you ask, but I guess for the purest answer, whatever you're trying to identify as, it's the opposite of that.
Okay.
Yeah, like, can I answer that one as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
I really don't like the concept of cross-dressing because it implies that clothes inherently have a gender attached to them, and that just isn't something that I think is a thing. Like, I don't see men's clothes and women's clothes. I just see clothes that anyone can wear. And so to say that someone is cross-dressing is to say that they're wearing something that they're not supposed to be wearing. Like, and also it only, at least in the US, I don't know how it is in Canada, but in the US, if you look at the term cross-dressing, it pretty much only applies to male-bodied people. Like someone who is perceived by society as female-bodied, who wears men's clothing, is not considered to be cross-dressing.
Men
They're,
cross dress, women are just butch.
yep, exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's definitely more targeted towards people born male. I think a really good example is like cross-playing, where like you have
mhm,
a male dressing as a Captain America, and they're cosplaying, and then you have a female dressed as Captain America, then they're like, oh, you're cross-playing, you're playing a male character. But like they're both just dressing up as a character they like, but one of them is doing something a little weirder because they're a different gender. And yeah, it
yep,
is a
exactly.
weird thing that society has developed, and unfortunately, uh, it is becoming a little bit more of a dated term, just like uh, oh, I don't know, maybe um,
Yeah,
transvestites, like the Rocky Horror Picture. Like it's
yeah, like 1970s era, really
Yeah.
cis-focused, terminology that people don't like to use anymore. But yeah, but it makes sense. And like the whole like cross-playing thing. Like a few months ago, I cosplayed a character from an anime called One Piece. Um, no one watching has probably heard of it, but uh
I've heard of
like
it. I just haven't.
I I cosplayed as Monkey D. Luffy, who is a male pirate, and like I got told I was like cosplaying, and I'm like, no, I'm just dressing up like Luffy. Why is that weird or bad or anything? I mean, I'm cosplaying, that's weird, but outside of cosplaying, it's not more weird that it's a male.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't make any difference at all.
Yeah. My. I think maybe
Like
my
I'm
question.
I'm female, but yeah.
I think maybe my question was a little could have been worded a little better.
What
Um.
did you?
So, I've mentioned this before, and I've done this before just to weird people out, I guess. But like, I very much see, me presenting as a feminine or woman or whatever you want to say, whatever language you want to use to describe it, how I
Mhm.
am now, basically. Um, I have described that if I just went and changed my shirt and my glasses and took a couple of seconds to um mentally put myself in a more male space, I could come back presenting um as best I can on camera as a cis guy. I guess it doesn't come across all that well. Um but I have no problems doing it IRL, so maybe it's just how um some people see me online. But I would have no problems coming back and doing the I'm a man thing, and related to this, kind of changing my presentation, my gender presentation entirely, as no different from simply wearing a different shirt. Like that's how I see it. It's complete. Well, I. It's hard for me to say it's completely different from my gender identity, but I see it as a separate thing from my gender identity, even if my gender identity covers both the masculine and the feminine. Um, it's just that, this is my first time wearing this shirt. I have a lot of shirts that I haven't worn yet, so and it kind of looks like the new lesbian flag. I like it.
It kind of does, yeah.
I
Like,
just noticed that.
not the old, like, purple X lesbian flag, but the new
No,
one with the
exactly.
orange. And so my question though is, what does that have to do with cross-dressing specifically? Because if you're bi-gender, then wouldn't neither side of it be cross-dressing? Wouldn't it all just be
Correct dressing, as Jenny put it. Okay, yeah, that's why I said what I was. That's why I said that it was maybe a poorly worded question, right? So, like, you can present however you can present yourself and express yourself however you want, right? And I separate identity and expression and presentation to all be different things, right? Like, I could express myself masculine, but still be, presenting as a woman. I could also do the opposite, right?
No.
I might come across, if I'm presenting myself very femininely but expressing myself very masculine, I might come across as, like an effeminate gay man. I don't like that because I know some effeminate straight men. But
how people would see it.
Yeah, that's how people might see me. Or if I did the opposite, I would be, uh, uh, just a butch woman.
Well, I think that is a topic that I kind of wanted to touch on too. It's so for people like you two, you've indirectly created a problem that isn't your guys' fault at all. It's society's fault, but you've indirectly created a problem, where now, like, say for example, May, you dress feminine, and say both of us are like in the same area, somebody would intuitively want to call us maybe both man because of how we're presented. But for you, that might not be what you're aiming for, or maybe it is. For Kaden, definitely not. If Kaden was there with us, then that would cause a problem. But we're all kind of like not quite what society would expect, I guess. Like they would be like, oh, okay, well, they're trying, I guess. They're saying, okay, well, I kind of have an idea now of what transgender is. Like the 20 years ago, not so much. We would get sir, and then for Kaden, ma'am, I guess. Like that's what they would say, and then there would be nothing we could do. Now people are kind of like, maybe it's this is what I'm supposed to do. And the problem is that when you're not clearly part of the binary, people don't know which to go for. Like the problem relies on me now. It's like, am I a queer man, or an effeminate man, or am I a non-binary person? Like, what am I? They can't, like, and that's not your guys' fault. You guys being who you are actually, that's a problem that we should address. We should fix that. We should have a language for that. We shouldn't care. Like maybe people identify me as they're not sure what to do, but they don't. It's not an issue. Like they don't call me anything. Like I think that's not the go-to. Like I open a door for somebody. I don't say thank you, ma'am, or thank you, sir. They just say thank you. Like that's the language we should evolve towards. But yeah,
completely. I do have to get going, but it was awesome being on again. Hopefully I can be back on the show soon. Thank you so much.
that wasn't what I was saying, was it?
Thanks, kid.
You kind of had to go halfway through what I did.
I have to go
He's
like
had a really
like
busy week.
and so yeah, like it's nothing to do with you at all, Cara. Nothing. I just have to get going.
Okay,
That's all right.
sorry, I kind of come off with a weird tone. I
No,
didn't
it's
know if
okay.
I.
It's not because of you. It has nothing to do with you. I just needed to go do something before 8 p.m., which is in about an hour. So I
Yeah.
just needed to get going.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah, Nee's had a like super insanely busy week. Go on and go ahead and continue.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just it's a problem that should have been uh, not something we've evolved to as a society to create. This isn't a problem that you guys are responsible for fixing. This is a problem that was overlooked because nobody had the I guess society as a whole didn't have the open mindedness in the past to allow people like you and Kaden to exist. Like you or I couldn't exist 100 years ago. We would probably be
Mm-hmm.
killed. Like, uh, so I mean, the language didn't evolve because of that atmosphere. And now, when we're trying to get traction for acceptability and stuff, it's kind of um, the whole dialogue of what's cross-dressing, what's feminine or masculine, what that implies anymore is at stake, and a lot of people don't want to give that up. And it's uh yeah, like I you guys seem to have a perception of me that I don't receive from other people online. Like you say that the way I talk is feminine or I look female. Like it's very flattering, but I don't hear that. Like when I stream, people say, "Oh, you look like a dude with long hair," or "You sound exactly like what I thought you looked like." It's like, okay, whatever. And in person, people are they call me man and stuff, but like, um, yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I could put you up a. I think that it might be that um or I think that it might be that a lot of trans people are more aware that people that like the human race in general is a little bit more androgynous than stereotypes would have you believe. Like I pay attention to things um that I a lot of other people in how other people look or how other people sound that maybe um that maybe cis people don't necessarily uh read into, and that is because I'm in the process of changing those or thinking about like what even does a male face or a female face look like, or what even does a male voice or a female voice sound like. Um, so I think that it could be just that we've educated ourselves more that um to to see things differently from our own experiences. Like I look in the mirror and I ask myself, like, how do random strangers, not people who know me, how do random strangers, when I'm out, um, when I'm out and about, doing grocery shopping or whatever, how do they, how did this person, I'm dressed androgynously, how did this person see me? Um, well, not necessarily androgynously intentionally, but like I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt. How did this person see me? And what process did they use to use she her pronouns for me, right? Um, and like I've been misgendered once in the last or sorry, not even misgendered. I've gotten he him, or it was a sir actually, once in the last 3 or 4 months, and I was asking myself like, uh, okay, I haven't shaved, but like, how, how, like I don't know how that person could have seen me as a man at that point in time, or someone they should have said sir to. Um, but generally speaking, people at least around here, um, uh, is and I don't go by what people who know me um use. I go by what strangers use, and it's she. And then I look in the mirror and I'm like, how are you seeing me as a she and not a he? I don't know. That's kind of where I come from. Like, but I'm aware that I'm maybe seeing things in myself that other people don't, and people are just taking a glance at the clothes I'm wearing and the fact that I usually shave every couple of days. I haven't shaved since like Monday. I'm lazy. Um and um like I usually present reasonably feminine. Um but yeah, that's like I don't know, and I use she, her, and he, him pronouns. Usually she, her. So like I don't have any different language or anything that I would ask for. So I'm very empathetic to pronouns though. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, the expression thing, like how it's different from uh your identity. Like it's almost um weird to separate the two, I guess. Um because your expression is part of your identity. It's how you identify somebody. Um but
Well,
people will, like, I guess people focus on the labels aspect of it a lot. Like
that's true.
you see a lot more expression in like movies and video games where it's important to identify and separate people. It's like, oh, that's that person, the purple person or the green person or the person wearing these weird shoulder things. Like these are all distinct people, and because in those environments things are faster and you have to kind of separate that information. But in our society we don't have that experience. Nobody is like that, because we all have these ideas of what it means to be that type of person. So when you are uh, trying to express yourself, you are in some form or capacity pulling from resources from a very specific idea of what somebody looks like. Maybe you have slightly different tastes. Maybe you like cap sleeve shirts or t-shirts, or maybe you like the 3/4 length t-shirts. Like those are just preferences, but it's all kind of similar-ish. And it's all tied to how people refer to you in a video game or a movie. It's all script, so there isn't any issue. Like they know what to call each other, so it's not like you can be as expressive or personal and as you want, and people will not. They'll still know who you are.
Yeah.
But we don't have that we don't have that ability in society uh, yet.
Yeah, I don't know, like I don't it's something that comes up. I don't care if people see me as being I used to, okay? Um but my reasons for caring were self-preservation. But don't I don't care. People see me as a man, a woman, androgynous, non-binary, different androgynous way. Um, I say I'm an androgynous, but I say that, you know, I'm not the common use of indeterminate gender. Um, Part of the definition, more that I you know, have traits of both. So, and I often try to, um, well, I don't try to do anything. I just be myself, and I feel like I do generally have that that androgyny when I come across to people, and I guess I come off butch or futch or something like that. So, but really, um, really, I'm just like being myself. And I guess there's just, you know, as far as gender goes, I'm a very diverse person. So I don't know if that's the best way of describing it or anything, but that's how I am.
Yeah, I think Caden's like that too. Like dressing like they were tonight, or but sometimes dresses and dresses.
Yeah,
Telling
like I said before, I've actually done this during a we kept it going for something like 6 hours, just passing it off between different channels. But we had a fundraiser for a guy who needed a new car. Um, and on the second day, I was off the day, so I could just spend the whole day streaming basically. Um, like someone's like, "Okay, do you want to come in?" It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I was up until after midnight. So I'm like, "Sure." I just grabbed this stuff on top of my hair in a ponytail. I was like, "Okay, these are men's clothes. I guess I'm going to do the boy thing." Um, but then I changed. But then, you know, just to I don't know, just because I felt like it. Just I think it came up about me being non-binary at some point because there's actually quite a few trans people doing this, even though it wasn't for a trans person. um, but it came up, and um, then I came back for we I came back, you know, presenting as a woman, and then I changed again and again. So I changed. I basically, you know, changed my gender presentation 3 times over the course of the stream. Just I guess it was to make kind of a point that, you know, um I'm non-binary or something like that. I think I was just trying to make it a thing that I do, but I do it like I don't really do it like throughout the day or anything. But you know, I often just grab whatever's on top of my clothes pile, uh, and and uh, and go with that. So yeah, I also do this really weird. Um, I think it has to do with me being mildly autistic, but I do this really weird um, this really weird gender chameleon thing where I'll subconsciously change my change how I'm expressing myself, not necessarily like what clothes I'm wearing or anything, but my body language, how I'm talking, and stuff like that based on, you know, if based on the people in a room with me. And this actually really annoys me, or it did really annoy me until I figured out what was going on. Um, when I first, you know, started transitioning, because it'd be like I'd be with a group of, you know, woman, and I would be, really feminine. And then I would be in a group of men or a mixed group, and I'd be a lot more masculine. It's like, why am I not being feminine? Well, I remember like being, in my teens, and I'd be sitting in a room uh full of girlfriends who would forget that as far as they knew I was a guy. Like they would completely forget that as far as they knew I was man or a teenage boy or whatever. And then like nobody ever thought I was a terrible, like not like none of my guy friends would ever think that I was a terribly effeminate guy. Um, not necessarily, super masculine, but not feminine at all, even though I obviously am if I want to be. So it's a really weird experience. And I do it subconsciously, especially if I'm like around people IRL. You should see me on my birthday. Where like
Yeah, you. I don't think I've ever seen you in a dress. Oh, there's that one time with you showed on Pride or whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like I know the first few times that like I started wearing stuff that feminine, I was very nervous. I don't know how you felt.
Okay, yeah, that. So the first time I wore it, so I had that Pride dress, the dress I had at Pride. I had that made specifically for Pride by my roommate Casey. Um, and she made it. Yeah, I had her make it specifically for Pride. And I'd worn it once before out of the house. And it was for, it's like it's a charity march for the local Crossroads Women's, I think it's Crossroads. It's for one of the local women's shelters. And it's called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. And everyone wears heels. They actually had heels that fit my battleship feet, and everyone wears heels. And we have a route that is roughly a mile. And so a few times when people have been doing stuff for this, there was a bunch of cis men who would, wear dresses and stuff for solidarity or something like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to wear my dress, and people are going to see me as a man in a dress. Um, that didn't happen. People definitely saw me as a woman, and I started out super nervous. And then uh, as the day went on, in that, my original plan was to run home and change, and then go do other stuff I was going to do during the day. I wanted to go grocery shopping or whatever. And by the end of it, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go grocery shopping in the dress. um, so yeah, when by the time Pride actually came around, like it was going to be a super big deal for me, and then it was like the most the wearing the dress part was extremely anticlimactic, because I had already been dressing like that for um I had already been dressing like that for a couple of months. um so yeah, and I like went for like three 3 months almost exclusively wearing skirts. The only reason I don't all the time now is because I wear knee braces, so I wear like jeans or leggings or whatever to keep those covered up.
Are those the ones you had in your pictures earlier that you're showing your gym attire?
Yeah, I was wearing the knee braces. So yeah. Um and yeah, but I actually have 3 dresses. I have the black one that my mom bought me for my birthday that I was wearing in my birthday pictures. I have the the one that my friend made me for Pride. Um, and um, I have the I have this nice blue dress as well. Um, and it's really nice. Um, and I'm happy I have it because my aunt gave me this over here. No, my aunt gave me this like turquoise pendant. And it goes amazing with the dress. So yeah. But yeah, for months I have been, you know, dressing in skirts and very very feminine tops. So yeah, it was, it's up
Yeah,
and down.
I don't. I mean, skirts are fun. I find I look like a potato in them, so I have an
Oh,
idea that it's gonna look so fun, and it's like, oh wow, I look really bad.
I bought a new skirt yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I bought a new skirt yesterday. I have six denim skirts, one six like yeah short, I guess mini skirts that are denim built like jeans. I have one that's like a pleated skirt that I wore for my Halloween costume, and I have another long purple skirt. um, and I wear them all the time. So, uh, yeah, like, and the first time I actually wore a skirt out of the house all day, um, or even out of the house at all, aside from Halloween, I wasn't just like running to the store or something. I went to Whitby to get my face lasered. I'm like, okay, I'm just wearing the skirt. I'm gonna get my face lasered. Um, I had to catch the gold bus an hour and a half out of town because it has to stop at every single stop. um, and I hate buses. I get motion sick. But yeah, I did that. I went, you know, wandering around that part of Whitby like I normally do. Nothing, nothing really went sour. I think people were generally seeing me as a woman, so it's like, okay, now my anxiety and nervousness over this is gone. I'm just gonna dress like this all the time for the next few months. So
Yeah, that's the kind of summer joys. You can wear those styles. I mean, you can still do that in fall and stuff.
yeah, yeah, I am waiting for. Well, I'm now. I have a bunch of winter clothes. I miss wearing.
I definitely feel like I have a better fall wardrobe, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, for bottoms, I have like three or four. I have like three pairs of women's jeans for bottoms, and then like four or five pairs of men's jeans, and a few leggings. That are you know pants basically. I mean, I could wear it in the winter if I really wanted to. If it was like less than negative, or if it was above like -5, wear it in the winter, like the long skirt. It might get wrecked in the snow though. But yeah, I've been and then like I said, I do every once in a while. It usually happens on a day where I'm planning on doing nothing, so it's just like, okay, these pants and these shorts, and I can't be bothered to wear a bra today, so I'm just gonna have a boy day. And then I end up having to go, you know, to the grocery store or something. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't need to change that.
Well, that kind of tied into something that I mentioned last week, uh, like how I wear certain things that make me feel like I meet enough requirements that other people would be able to identify me correctly, even though it's not necessary for me internally.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like nobody's gonna see what underwear you're wearing, but it still matters. Like I'm not gonna wear boxers. It doesn't, but nobody's gonna care.
I hate
But
boxers.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I guess my expression is more. Um, you okay?
Oh yeah, I have a question, and it's
Oh, I
getting
thought something
skewed.
happened in your chair there. I have to rotate and move around and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, yeah. For me, expression is a lot about just making sure, um, like I feel comfortable around other people. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly how I want to look all the time. Like maybe, like especially earlier in my transition, I would dress more feminine than I would want to, just because I was more desperate to feel the validation of society. Um, Now it doesn't seem to really matter. Like it's just like uh, what I do is for the thing that I'm doing. Like if I'm doing yard work or I'm going grocery shopping, it's kind of a lot more practical and stuff. But like still, um, like I still feel nice about my appearance, but it's not as much of an expression, I guess. It's more of just
Yeah.
like a, I don't know. Like for me, expression is less natural. You're expressing, you're showing something. Um,
Okay. Well, when I say expression specifically, I mean like not what you're wearing, although that can be part of it. More like your body language and how you're speaking, how um your body language and how you're speaking, and like stuff like that, as opposed to presentation, which is like what you're wearing and how you're or presenting yourself. You can break that. You can call them the same thing and break that up into body language and how you talk and everything like that, if you want. But that's more where I was going with.
Well,
So
before I was like, I think I definitely mentioned to you during the group thing that we met in last year, was that before I came out, I was still wearing female appearance. Like I would wear makeup and women's clothing and stuff. Like
yeah.
nothing really changed that much when I came out for the first like 6 months. But then I was like openly identifying as gender expressive. And I think for me at that point, it definitely was about uh, just um, doing those things, even though it didn't really mean anything, even though to me it did. But like the point I was trying to make at that time, like to feel safe to do that stuff, was that I was just, um, I guess it's kind of like drag. Like that's an art form. I'm not that comfortable with it, uh, but it's kind of, that's an expression form. You're doing something that is saying this is this thing. Like it's not that's not what they are. They're not this entity that they've created. It's just a form that they've shown themselves. That to me was what gender expression is. It's like before I identified as female, I was male, but I was presenting in a way that was like very unusual, and yeah, I don't know. That's how I differentiate the two. So like
Okay.
what, like I guess you could do like for me, I don't know if it's mannerisms, unless it's like part of it. Like it's not.
It's a and it's generally a very complicated subject with a lot of different, people just lump everything into gender, right? And it's like, no, actually, we're we can break this down into a million different things. Um, so yeah, like, um, oh, you're frozen, Kara. Oh no, no, you're not. Or I thought you just were really, really still.
Oh, I was reading the text, and I'm also a little bit drunk.
Okay. Um. Well,
I
you
was
were
so
like,
still. You have
you
the
were
TV
so
in the
still. I thought
background
you
as
were
a
frozen.
reference point.
Yeah, I know.
It must have looked
Uh,
so weird. It's like 100% still, like nothing, no.
you were, you were
Sorry,
100% still.
I was
I
catching
was
up
like,
on like
wait,
the
what?
chat in the text here or the stream chat.
Um,
Um, but sorry, yeah, I was still
yeah.
listening. That was just my really focused on reading face, and it looks really dumb.
Okay.
It's equivalent to being totally frozen.
I oh, I forgot where I was going. Like, I can, change how I'm talking and change how I am, change my facial expressions and everything to be more masculine. Just and even change my voice. Um, if I can put myself in the right mindset to do so. Um, this is very much more how I would have spoken and had my body language before um, before I came out. And it's not just how I'm, it's not just the that I'm using the lower end of my natural voice tone. It's actually that how I'm also like saying my words, I guess mannerisms and stuff like that. Um, so what uh that's more what I mean there. As opposed to how I normally as opposed to how I normally uh you know do this sort of stuff uh now, which is a lot more feminine. A lot of people say they still have both. They still get the you know I speak like both a man and a woman at the same time. It, um, or at least a couple of people have said that I have a very androgynous voice, which I like now. I used to hate it. I actually used to do voice training to try to lower my voice. And then I tried to did voice training to try to raise my voice when I first come out. Because I thought I wanted that because stereotypes and bullshit like that, cis normativity or whatever. Um, and then I yeah, and then I just gave up on makeup and I gave up on changing my voice and I gave up on everything because when I walk outside wearing something like this now, I just like people don't bother me for being who I am, so I don't need to, I don't feel the need to change to do something that's not what I would normally do anyways. I am so bad at eyeliner. I can't do any eye makeup. Don't ask me to do eye makeup. Just I cannot do it. The
There's a lot
stuff in my
of
pictures that was all 100% like done by my roommate who made my dress.
From what I gather, I mean, I didn't really see this from your experience, man. You seemed like you were pretty determined when you came out. Like you were, I don't know. It seemed like you're making strides pretty quick. But what Lizzie was experiencing is definitely stuff that I experienced, and it does seem more common. Like you take small steps and you're like freaking out. Like I was like just I would get something slightly more feminine, even though it was like quite unisex, but it was just like the texture was a little bit different or something like that, or the neckline's a little bit different. But I was sure people are gonna be like, "Whoa!" and then everyone's gonna be mad at me. Like I had no idea, and I was really terrified. Um, yeah, makeup. Uh, it took a lot for me to wear makeup in public. Um, yeah, like you do those things, and you're like just so sure society's gonna eject you. You're just gonna push a button, and you're gone. And you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
but
No. I actually, when I started the Gender Journeys group, I either didn't have glasses or they broke in like the first 1 or 2 weeks. I think I still have them over here somewhere. Can I reach them? Okay, they're behind a bunch of shit. I can't see them. So I ordered these ones and another pair that are out of my reach, off of Amazon. And of course, these are cute, purple on one side. I wish they were purple on both sides, but they're only purple on one side. They're kind of almost cat eyes, and they're also very dirty. So I got these glasses, and like it was terrifying for me to wear these a block and a half down the road to go pick up groceries. I
yeah, but you live in
refused to wear
Peterborough,
them.
and like
I
it's pretty
refused to
scary.
wear them. I refused to wear them. Um, uh, like outside for like 3 days after getting them. And then when I started wearing them at work instead of my other more masculine pair, people were like, "Oh, I like your glasses," and this is people I wasn't out to at the time. So yeah, I even started that with just something as simple as these slightly more feminine glasses. Than you know, I they definitely help make me look more feminine, but with these glasses, I was terrified wearing them. Um, but then not only did nothing bad happen, people started complimenting me on my glasses. Um, I was for a few times in uh for a while in November and December, I was still wearing my men's work shirts, but I was wearing subtle makeup, just foundation, uh, foundation highlight powder, um, just to and I was wearing this feminizing makeup, and leggings with my normal with my normal men's work shirt, and nobody noticed, and I got more comfortable. I eventually went back to wearing men's jeans because they're warmer and have pockets, which when you're doing my job, pockets are key. um, but that went extremely well, and then um like going even further, I remember once I actually went to the group in my yeah, it actually looks like the demigirl flag, but in my that pink, white, and gray top I have and leggings, I went to it in that, and I was utterly terrified, and that was under my winter coat. Um, and every time I took a little step, I would be utterly terrified. I just like I compare it to dipping my toe in to to see how cold the water is. And then when it's warm, when nothing bad happens. And really, IRL, not like in my personal life, nothing bad has ever happened. I stop being so um it's like, okay, this is okay, no one's going to come after me for this. I like this, I'm going to keep doing it. But yeah, been I've said I've been terrified at every step in the way for no reason. I continue to be terrified at every step of the way for no reason. So
I find certain elements of expression and identity kind of interesting. Like it seems kind of important for like Kaden, for example. Like, it's too bad is not here. But
Yeah.
uh, for that person, it's very important to be identified with certain labels, to say that it's like, oh, I'm a non-binary Temi boy. Like there's like it's very specific, and uh, but like for me, like it doesn't make sense for me to add additional subcategories depending on like how I'm looking that day. Like maybe like, oh, maybe I wear shorts today instead of a skirt. Just like I'm not going to say I'm uh, non-binary. Just like it
Well, yeah.
there's an element there that it is important for some people to be referred that way, even though it's not objectively important what you're wearing. Like it's like, well, what are you trying to say to society? And for somebody like Kaden, it's like, I'm not trying to say I'm this or that. I'm trying to say I'm something else. And yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to capture, um, because there's no words for it. Like to come up with the pronouns they, them, or is that how it is?
Yeah.
But yeah, like to me, like that's like very hard to say in a sentence, and like even harder than they, them. Uh, and it like I don't really know like if it's specific, like it adds that extra layer of masculine non-binary.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I'm I like I said, I'm pronoun. I can't answer that because I'm extremely pronoun apathetic. I'm not fond of people using gender neutral pronouns for me, but like it's like okay, whatever. If you're going to do that, I don't care. I do, just not very much. But like, my calling myself non-binary like has nothing to do with the has nothing to do with the clothes that I'm wearing. It has nothing to do with how I express or present myself, right? It has to do with my own internal sense of how I personally experience gender. Like I mentioned earlier, that I have a lot of body dysphoria that is female body dysphoria. Um, mostly the fact that I have like A cup boobs and um a more masculine shape than you might see on the camera. We're working on that. Hormones are doing wonders for me. Um, but I also am getting certain um I'm also getting a small amount of dysphoria from certain masculine traits that I'm losing. That's really frustrating for me. But I kind of expected that to happen, and I come up with a way of transitioning that in the end I'll have everything, almost everything I want, and nothing that I don't want. So, like my saying that I'm non-binary is more based on how I see my like I say that when I was 9 I knew I was trans because I knew I wanted to be both a boy and a girl when I was like 9. Or also when I speak with a lot of more binary trans women, um you know we have a lot of obvious differences about what makes us dysphoric, what doesn't make us dysphoric, what we want out of our transitions, and so on. So it's a very you know it's more than just I you often come off as being futch to people, so I'm going to call myself bigender or something like that. It's how I perceive myself, um more than uh, more than how I'm outwardly presenting and expressing myself. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's. I don't know. It kind of feels like it's like a safety thing from my perspective of what you do. I don't know what it's like, what it truly is like that you get to do. Like, the top of the clothes in the pile is men's clothing. So okay, I'm cool with that. People are gonna call me sir that day. That's, you know what? I like, to me, I can't, I don't understand that. Like, just because that's not me. Like, it would be the same thing as somebody who sees me and wants, doesn't understand why I want to be referred to as female. Um, it's just, I don't have that capability. I understand that it's important to you, or that is who you are, but I don't know. I don't know how to express that. Like I know how to express female. I know how somebody would express male, but I don't know how to express neither or both. Kind of like how you express both, I guess, or Kaden expresses neither. Like, I don't know how to do that, so I don't know how to describe that or to converse about that. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like it's um it's definitely something not widely understood. Um,
yeah. I mean, like, I have a hard time trying to grasp why people care so much about their pronouns. It. I know that people do, but it's like, what's why why do people care? It doesn't make any difference to me. I prefer she her pronouns because generally speaking, I appear and act closer to a woman than a man, right? It's like, okay, that's, you know, a good description of me. Go ahead and use it. If I'm presenting, in a way that would be typical of a man, if I'm presenting myself to the world that way, then like I can't, but usually because I want to, or usually because it's the close at the top of the pile, um, or whatever. It's like I can't fault you for using he/him pronouns. I look more like a typical man than a typical woman. So why would I get upset um over over someone seeing me as one. So it's like I just don't get it. I'm just very apathetic to things like pronouns. Now, that said, sometimes there has been a couple of instances where I'm like, okay, what like in Shoppers, when I was picking up it was one of my prescriptions. uh I'm like, I'm in a skirt and a purple shirt, and this obvious woman's hat. Why did you just call me sir? You know, it's like, but even at that, I'm like, more like, what did you see that the other 20 people who used pronouns for me today didn't see, right? So it's more of a confusion, like, but yeah, that's really it is. That that's where I'm coming from. It's like, pronouns, whatever. Just get my name right. That's what I care about the most. Just get my name right. Now, there is one place where I do care. To be fair, there is one place where I do care, and that's at work. Um, as far as
I think I could
anyone,
wait. Like, it's you express your, like, say when you're going for femme, like female, you express it, you're looking that way. You are like Lizzie in the chat mentioned it. The pronouns are a great way to feel validated for what you're expressing. You're like, this is what I am, and please
Yeah.
see this. And then they say the pronoun you want, and you're like, wow, right on. You get this awesome feedback. You're in an environment where you're supposed to feel safe, like maybe around your family or at work, and you know that they know, and then they don't do that. Then it's like really, that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It's more of it's more of a practical thing at work, right? We have, people we have a lot of older customers that work at a bingo hall, and it's like they don't all get being trans, and I don't, you know, like it's a business, not a trans education center where we can, teach them about being non-binary. So as far as I care, at work, for practical reasons only. As far as anyone is concerned, I'm a cis woman. Or not a cis woman, a binary woman. Um, and that works fine. Um, and like I said, that's a practical thing. When I'm not at work, um, and I actually am kind of miffed by it because, like I'm limited to what women's work shirts I have. I, you know, have gone to grab a shirt and it's a men's. I'm like, no, I'll wear the same work shirt from yesterday, woman instead. Um, just because, it's a practical thing to keep the customer, um, you know, content. Um, and it's kind of annoying, but whatever, I deal with it. Um, because it makes my life easier. Um, but like, I guess I don't really look. It's nice when I get it, but I don't really look for any. Um, that's not even that. Like, I'm just pretty apathetic to what gender people see me as. Right? It's like I'm just out here. I'm being me. Um, you know, I generally look like someone you'd use she her pronouns for, so yeah, go for that. If someone asks me what my pronouns are, I'll say she her. um just just so that I'm not giving an I don't care, so I'm actually giving a useful response to it. um but really, like, as long as people aren't being bigoted, then I am apathetic to what gender people see me as, or what pronouns people use. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from there.
Yeah, I play online video games, and I was just talking to somebody here uh, about that. Like, it's really hard when your voice is masculine like mine, to be in that environment, like where you can't express yourself very easily or at all, and you just have like the very basics, just the voice and the text, and you can't really portray gender on that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if like I've worked in call centers, right? And actually, and it actually part of the reason that lose caused her to lose her job. But another person who was in that group, um, you know, would always get misgendered over the phone, and it really caused her a lot of dysphoria. Um, and when I've worked in 3 call centers, probably for a total of 4 years or so. I really hate working in call centers. But if one thing that stands out is that if people would miss my name, then I would get she, her, he, him. Uh, uh, I got they, them once. I would get people not using pronouns at all. Um, People asking, not necessarily my pronouns, but like, are you a woman, a guy? I don't know. Um, uh, so it's like, um, yeah, that's my life on the voice. And I think people focus too much on tone. Like, you have a very masculine tone to your voices. It's deep, but you don't talk like a man. Right? But
Well, you're the first person that like said. Well, you and I believe, yeah, Kaden, both of you mentioned that, but no one's ever really mentioned that to me. I didn't know.
I think that's because a lot
Or
of people don't notice, right? I don't think a lot of people listen to necessarily to how people talk. If someone has a very high or a very low tone, right? Um, it's just like, okay, this person has a very deep voice. They must be a man, or this person has a very high voice. They must be a woman. Um, and then there are, cis women with very deep voices like yours, or um, cis men who are who have very high voices. I use Geddy Lee as an example. I think his natural voice is a little bit higher than mine. So it's like, or at least it was when he was younger. It's gone down a bit, which is normal, but like, that's my experience trying to, and that's with me trying to, find my own voice. um and before I come out, trying to just when I was a demi boy trying to be a man, um uh like, I would lower my voice, or I tried learning to lower my voice. I can't. I have no chest resonance whatsoever. I talk entirely from my throat, and I can't talk from my head because I'm perpetually stuffed up. But like, uh, yeah, like, that's my experience from trying to lower my voice. That's my experience from trying to raise my voice, pitch wise. Um, like, even sometimes even speaking with a lower tone, that certain voice applications would tell you is within the normal range of a cis man. People still hear me as a woman, because I talk very androgynously. But I guess, um, you know, but just the way you say the way you say your words isn't is closer to what, you know the way that most women would say their words. It's just that you have a very low tone.
well, that's interesting. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I sound female sometimes, but then when I hear myself, it's like, whoa, that's a weird voice. But everybody has that. But like to me, it's like it's extra harsh because it's like it's really not how I think I even remotely sound like. It's just really
Oh,
masculine.
I know.
Um,
I have I have listened to my voice and been like, I am so not dude. I need to change this. I used a voice changer for a while to lower my voice, before it started messing up because my computer's ancient and starting to become a bit toastery. I've used a voice and pitch thing to go up. as well. Uh, so yeah, I get, I really know where you're coming from. Um, but yeah, I notice also that how you talk isn't, how um I said how you form your words, how you enunciate it isn't masculine at all. So
Just had an interesting interaction with my friend here. He said that once he found out that I was female, it just sort of stuck. Like it just seemed kind of like he was always talking to a woman, which is kind of interesting. I don't get that experience with a lot of people. It's just kind of surprising. But I've had a coworker that I used to work with was the same. Like he moved to BC and stuff. He when he found out that I was transgender, um, he just he actually talked to me like a year later, saying like he actually forgot that I was male just because it just didn't
yeah,
like the way I typed to him and stuff. Like it didn't seem like it just kind of evaporated that idea. But then once he saw uh, a video that I did, it like brought him back a little bit. He's like, "Oh, right, that's right. You're I mean, you're female, but like I didn't like I forgot the maleness." Um,
I have a friend who I've known since my teens. Um, her name is Catherine, and she transitioned. I guess about started transitioning about 6 years ago. Um, and yeah, I only ever see her. The only time I remember that she's trans is when I'm, you know, is when her being trans is the topic. Other than that, going way back into the past, um, you know, and what 15, 16, 17 years ago, whenever we met, I see her as a woman in the past. And other people have said that that's a common thing. It's like people will, at least people who are accepting, will kind of forget that you transitioned. So um yeah, it's like it's an interesting thing how people will revise history like that. And it's a few of my closer friends have already started kind of revising that, right? So that's really that's really cool. Um, but it's just, I think it's interesting how people do that.
like so much warmer in this room than outside. And I want to turn on the air conditioning, but then like you won't be able to hear me. It's even louder than before with the TV all the time.
Oh no. It's a very comfortable temperature in here.
Oh, look at you, all comfortable.
um yeah. Uh well, I have windows open and everything, so there's that. I have to, in the summer though, I have to like turn off all my fans or you hear them. You can actually probably hear a fan going now. That's my CPU fan, not my that's my computer, not like a not like a air on me fan. So Yeah, I need to replace my thermal paste, I think.
So would you say your voice is part of your expression? Like if you're trying to change your voice, I would say it would be. Like
Yeah, yeah, I mean, if I was trying to change my voice, then, um, yeah, it totally would be. I'm just speaking how I would normally speak. I think that how I normally speak has changed over the last year a little bit. But I think I would say that this is the more natural way of me speaking. And that I was mostly
oh,
in.
sorry, I think I've been using the word expression over presentation, but that is what I've been meaning. Like for
I
the
understood
topic
what
of
you
the
meant.
stream. I did. I should have been more consistent with that. I just realized that the title of it was presentation and identity. I've been using expression and identity.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of mean the same thing, anyways. So I just had a title and it.
No,
um.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely not. Yeah, it seems to be it's a thing that has manifested that's unfair. Um, I don't know if there's anything that can be done about it, but yeah, it's like you're you're you wanting to do a certain thing that requires a more utilitarian outfit if you're trans female, and then it's maybe a more like traditionally masculine outfit, then society has to fill in the blanks. Like it's, but there isn't really that much the other way around. Like if you're male, there isn't a scenario where you wear something that's more feminine. It doesn't really come up.
Oh.
Like what would be the reverse? It seems like maybe the focus is
Well,
actually mostly on trans women. Like I don't
oh
know
yeah.
how much is on the other way.
Oh yeah. I speak with trans men, and I was on a. I won't advertise it, but I was in an online community that had a lot of trans. It was an entire GRSM community, but the trans element of it was mostly trans men or trans masculine people. There were very few trans feminine people on it. Um, and unfortunately, they're all like, um, uh, you know, super heavy true scum. So I kind of ATFO'd that. But yeah, there is this, if you are a, um, if you're a trans man, then you have to be the, um, the stereo, you can't be a feminine an effeminate trans man. And I think even Drew was, talking about this a bit on, in our group, where, oh no, you can't be an effeminate trans man. You have to be like super super masculine. Like, I don't know. Insert random masculine person here. I can't think of anyone. Or any celebrities, anyways. Um, yeah, you have to be Rob Halford, not, you can't be like Lee. There you go. So yeah, um that is a problem in the trans mass community as well. Um, so it's definitely, they fight the same thing, but just the opposite, right? They're fighting against the same sort of stereotypes, um, but just the male stereotypes. Not
All right, I'm kind of um, holding on, but I think I don't know how much longer you want to stream here. I definitely don't want to do last time where it was like till 2 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I just took a progesterone pill, and that actually does a really good job of knocking me out. So,
is it? Oh wow.
oh yeah, it makes me really sleepy like all day. It's I would recommend trying. Okay. Well, does anyone else in the chat want to come in? We have a bunch of really cool chat.
I'm boring.
No, you're not. You're not boring at all. I'm boring.
You're not boring. You're
I'm
talking way
boring.
more than me.
I'm boring for it's my show. I have to talk.
Well, I mean, I guess so, but that's I mean, you didn't specifically put in your thing that you're going to talk. Like
Okay.
you're filling in that blank. Like I
I'm the
think
host. Okay, or I'm the
it's
host.
just a 2-hour stream of you looking pensively at the camera. You're just like waiting for the perfect moment. Yes. There was another streamer. Oh God, really cringy. She's a transgender streamer. Have you heard of? She used to stream Zelda as Cosmos, and then became Narcissa.
I haven't heard of her.
Yeah, she was doing a lot of like really good Ocarina of Time runs and was very popular with that. And then when she transitioned, she stopped streaming for a really long time. She came back really strange, but like she'll do like 6-hour streams, doesn't say a word.
Oh.
Sometimes she's just lying on her bed. Other times she's playing games or something, or typing, like writing, like it's, or just looking at the chat text, and it's like, whoa. So hey, you could do that. No, don't do that. No, you're not boring. I'm just saying that's boring. You're not boring.
Yeah, I'm boring when it comes to anything other than topics like this. Okay. Yeah, I have made vision that after just bringing in. I've made this. That's expensive. Rather get it done younger than older. And this will give me more time to prepare. But I'm going to go back to school for nursing, and we have a very good Sir Sanford Fleming College, very good college for nursing. My mom actually graduated nursing there, and then I'm going to go to Trent for basically endocrinology or molecular biology is what it's called, but I'm pretty sure endocrinology is part of that. And then I'm basically going to work as a trans health specialist and try to get actual data on like what the best ways to what is actually the best way to transition, what is the best way to mitigate side effects, what's the best way to do this, that, and the other thing, because especially since I've been trying to get on progesterone, I have been given, you're given, you're told 5 different things from 5 different people, and then you're told 5 more different things from 5 different like specialists and endocrinologists and all of this. So it's like I am going to try to work to basically, figure out what is going, the best way to do things, because again, like we don't actually know anything almost. So
That's a pretty your goals are pretty ambitious. I hope they work out for you.
Thanks.
That's definitely not like a go in and do a week's worth of work and then also
No.
this thing. It's like it's a pretty big thing to try to do. Like like most people don't have the capacity to do such a big change in their life, a big commitment to an industry and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that works out. I start
Yeah.
school, I go back to university this Thursday, and I'm like
Nice.
friggin' nervous because it's a lot of people and they're all a lot younger than me, and it's kind of like trying to find my place, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I if you want to come into the stream, Atheist Rationale or Lizzie, you're welcome to just ask. I don't know, Twitter me or something. We can move to an after show or something, or because yeah, we are otherwise gonna get ready to shut it down. I guess. So yeah, there's a interesting discussion about voice feminizing surgery in the chat. So if you want to have a discussion of it, that let me know, because like I don't work tomorrow, so I don't care if I stay up. I just might get really sleepy. Oh, okay. Looks like that's not going to happen. All right. Well, then yeah, I think that was actually kind of the length we wanted to. We generally shoot for anyways. I
Yeah, I
guess
think
if
that was a better length, and we covered a lot of
yeah
things, I think, and we talked about the topics we set out to. Last
yeah
week was like, uh, it
well
was
that's
fun, but it was like I definitely couldn't do that every time. Like that's just like
oh yeah. Well, the general idea is that we do a everyone's cleaning tonight. I have to go switch my laundry into the dryer. Um yeah, like we generally want to do like a hour and a half to 2 hour main show and then stop the stream and switch over to an after show. I just was too into the conversation to go to the after show. um
thanks for letting me on
so
stream, and like, sometimes I worry my uh, sometimes I worry that I'm really preachy or something, because my tone is so bad. Like
your
I
tone
don't
is
think I sound
fine.
that bad. I feel like I come off so like harsh and like angry or judgy or. But, hopefully, I was not out of place and helpful.
No, not at all. You weren't last time either, so and that's not just my opinion. That seems to be the general opinion of the chat and everyone else who's been on the show with you.
Yeah, you guys are really friendly.
Yeah, well, I've had puberty management issues. um, but other than that, um, yeah, like yeah, and actually, an interesting thing, if you get on progesterone, you have to watch because you'll be it. You can get some pretty violent mood swings. Like, I was expecting it this time and aware of it, so I was like fighting to keep myself under control, but a misunderstanding happened at work, and it wasn't even a misunderstanding at my part, but then it led to another misunderstanding at my part, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? Now I'm extremely mad. The person who had the original misunderstanding didn't know, or wasn't there, and I couldn't get him to fix that. And yeah, so and then he showed up and he's like, oh no, I thought you said this. And I'm like, no, I said that. Oh, okay, let me fix that for you. And it's like this is literally the day after, and then I'm like absolute pure euphoria from then on. um but I need to watch to make sure that nothing ever triggers that again. Or to be aware of it if it does. It was a minor schedule, well, not a minor, it was a scheduling issue, and it just sent me off. But other than that, yeah. So be careful with progesterone. It can do weird things. But now it's great. It's really, I've been on it almost a week, 6 days, and yeah, I actually have a diary that I write in about how I feel on progesterone. Although now that things have equalized or normalized or whatever, like I'm not writing as much, but I feel that it's important to have this sort of stuff, actually put into words, because we again don't know anything about what progesterone actually does when trans women take it. There's all these people who say they have all these experiences, and then, um, it's all subjective and all allegedly and all, it may or may not do this, and it doesn't necessarily do it for everyone. But like, that happens physically too. My voice is immune to being lowered due to testosterone. My testosterone was textbook normal. So yeah. Yeah, we might do a debunk on Ken Ham's. You know what? Next time Ken Ham says something transphobic, Lizzie and Atheist.
And I'm the guy that does the Noah's Ark thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a dickhead.
Yes, he is. He's really transphobic. Like really transphobic. And we'll get Shannon and maybe Paul on. That'll be great. Ken Ham, the one of the worst people on the face of the planet. I think calling him a dickhead is actually perfectly accurate. If you want to Google it, he made a giant giant replica of Noah's Ark. And made it a theme park in Kentucky. And actually, a friend of the show and a friend of me, Shannon Q, donated something like $1,500 to the to a college of or University of Kentucky LGBT care center, or support center or something like that, that she raised by selling t-shirts and taking donations. And she donated it in Ken Ham's name on behalf of him, because he's a dickhead. So that was great, and we'll have Shannon and possibly Paul on, who's really takes it to Ken. We ever do that. So yeah, just if he brings up some transphobic crap, or maybe I'll go looking for stuff that he's done and compile it and go through that on like a movie night or something, or like a reaction stream or something like that. We can do that. Yeah, definitely. I hang out with the atheist online community a lot. All right.
You said BATs, or what is that? What did you say, BATs, or what was that? You hang out with?
Oh, the atheist community.
Oh, online. Atheists. For some reason,
a lot. So, yeah, there's that. So, yeah. Anything else going on? Guess not. Well, we've been going for about 2 hours. I guess that is a good enough stream. I believe Carl wants to go to bed, or something along those lines, and I'm actually starting to get sleep. Well, I've been up since 6:30, okay, and I went for like an hour long swim. So.
Oh yeah, that was today. It's too bad about the volleyball too. That's my favorite sport. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I would have took you up on that if I was in Peterborough, but it's the same thing happened to me in Coburg. It's like there's a drop-in thing, and I go there, and there's like literally no one else signed up, and you're just like, oh wow. like not one person. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I was like I left like 5 or 10 minutes before it was supposed to start. But they're like, yeah, there's probably going to be no one here. So I'm like, oh, I'm going home then. Yeah, the Y has drop in volleyball on Sundays apparently. It's just that everyone who's it's a long weekend, and apparently a lot of students play it, so they're all moving in and getting ready and all that. So, um, yeah, um, but the pool was kind of full. Um, I floated around in it, but because I was going to be playing volleyball, I took an naproxen, which is a painkiller, and it caused me to be so nauseous. I got like seasick in the pool and had to and just couldn't like be in. I didn't throw up or anything, but I just had to get out of there. And then I waited around for like half an hour to see if the volleyball would start, and no one was. Yeah, it kind of sucked, but oh well.
Okay, I think we should probably wrap her up,
Yeah.
and then I can turn on my air conditioning.
Oh yes, that's yeah. Okay. So yeah, that is it for this one. We will be back again uh next Sunday at 8 o'clock with a new topic, which I of course haven't decided yet. Um, and probably won't have decided until the middle of the week again. So that's it for this one, and have a good evening, eh?